So, investment strategies. The next person on the list is probably my favorite person to listen to in terms of financial stuff. In fact, he was probably the first person I listened to, apart from my parents, is Kevin O'Leary. Many of you know him from his Shark Tank fame, and he is the mean one on Shark Tank, right? He's the mean one. So, what are some of Kevin O'Leary's strategies? So, very first thing I'd like to say that he brings up a lot in his interviews is that over the last 40 years, I'll write this out. So over the last 40 years, 71% of returns on the stock market or on the market were from dividends. 71% of the returns are from dividends. Quite amazing, right? And I think that it makes sense because capital gains, there's two major ways to make money on the stock market. It's dividends is number one, which, the company pays out 2, 3, 4, 5% of their earnings to their shareholders every year. And the other one is capital gains, which is a lot of speculation. When I've said before that the market reacts to good and bad news, that's a lot of capital gain stuff. So it's, buy low, sell high. That's the capital gain. And so, but the other thing to that is there's a lot of capital losses. So it's buy high, sell low. That's what happens during a recession when people start selling when the stock's dipping, right? And so dividends, why they make up a large portion of earnings over the past 40 years is because you can't lose dividends, right? You can lose capital gains, so you can have a net loss in capital gains, but you will not lose dividends, right? So that is something that I live by. I've only invested in one stock that didn't pay a dividend, and I ended up nailing it. So invest in a lot of dividend-paying stocks. That's what Kevin O'Leary says. So again, high dividend yields. So stocks that pay 3, 4, 5% yields per year. That's amazing. Even Apple now is paying 2% dividends. When I bought them, I think it was 1.7% or something. Now they're up to 2. But yeah, so I'm going to share some of Kevin O'Leary's portfolio actually. One more thing. So he also likes high yields and low volatility. So in English, he likes stocks that are safe. He likes Canadian bank stocks. He likes the big companies. He likes, Johnson & Johnson. I'll name these out right now. So what he's invested in right now is companies Johnson & Johnson, which is a Johnson & Johnson, which is the big, they're like a pharmaceutical company in the United States. They sell a lot of medical products. So Johnson & Johnson, so they actually have a dividend yield of 2.7%, which is pretty good. ExxonMobil, and they pay 3.5% dividend yield, which is pretty good. Next one is AT&T, which he invests in, which is, they have a 5.17% dividend yield. Wow. I guess that they're a telecommunications company, right? They're not a tech company. So I guess that kind of makes sense. They have a 5% yield. So again, for all of you that are new to investing, you pay $100,000 into AT&T. If the stock stays at the same price at the end of the year, you're going to be getting back $5,000, right? So that's a pretty good investment. So AT&T, Microsoft, he's invested in. Microsoft, which, there we go, which has a 2.8% yield, and he's invested in Apple, which everyone is invested in, which pays a 2.2% yield. So, I was a little off on that one. So that's kind of his major investments. And one thing that he has two rules here, actually, that he doesn't pay more than 5% of his total investment. He doesn't pay more than 5% of his in total investment value into one company. So let's just say you have $100,000 to invest. Kevin O'Leary doesn't put in more than $5,000 into one company. He likes to diversify it on a company by company basis. And he also has a rule where he doesn't spend more than 20% of his investment money into one sector. So he is very diversified. So not only does he not buy large portions of one company, he also doesn't invest a lot of money in one field, right? And so this is kind of the opposite of Warren Buffett, where Warren Buffett will just go up and buy 40%, 50%, 60% of a company, and he does that every couple of years. And meanwhile, Kevin O'Leary is kind of the opposite. He's just like, I'll buy a little bit of a lot of companies so that if one goes down, all my other ones can still be doing pretty well. So that's what he does. So, so he spreads out his money. He's very diversified over a lot of sectors. And the only thing that he really stays away from is basic material companies. So I was looking over his portfolio. He spends 10 to 20% of his investments in, different sectors on average. And he only invests 2% of his money into the basic materials. So like companies that have like metal refining, forestry, chemical product producers, stuff like that. Just like basic material manufacturers, I should say. And so that's what he stays away from. But everything else was fair game. He goes in tech. Like he likes Apple and Microsoft. So he invests in a lot of things. He's very diversified. So I'm going to leave this video with a quote that he said in one of his interviews, which is, it was a story about how he got kicked out of his parents' house after he finished school. And he said it was like a good way for him to learn and to like fend for himself and to build his own wealth. And so he said his mom used to tell him, the dead bird under the nest is the one that never learned how to fly. And so pretty much what he's saying is that he learned how to fly because his mom kicked him out, right? So that's why he's so successful, because he had to be on his own. He had to earn money his own way. So what do you guys think of Kevin O'Leary? What do you guys think of him? He's kind of my stock market mentor. He's not my business mentor, because he does business a lot differently than I do. But yeah, what do you think of him? What do you think of his strategy? Do you think diversification is a good thing? For a lot of people, like, the reason why you don't diversify is because you want to hit the home run. You want to buy a company and then have its value go up so that you make a lot of money. Diversification is the safe way, and it's probably the better way for any average person to invest. So yeah,